Well, breaking news to share with you guys today. Our United States Congress has just gone public with some rather chilling information on UFOs. In fact, this is by far their biggest disclosure on UFOs to date. But before I get into it, just a quick break. A new investigation reveals that your Google history can betray you in more ways than one. In fact, it's making privacy advocates furious. Police have begun using a technique known as reverse keyword search. This allows law enforcement personnel to use Google's keyword history in order to find someone who has committed a crime, but it invades the average user's privacy. This is why I personally recommend a VPN with Virtual Shield at hidewithlisa.com. All the privacy tips and tricks in the world cannot accomplish what Virtual Shield can. It's an industry-leading VPN with a strict no-log policy, so even they cannot see what you're doing online. Virtual Shield helps to protect your data from ISPs, from hackers, from corporations, and from advertisers and anyone who tries to spy or track on you. Unfortunately, the technology that hackers and data miners use is too advanced to be beaten by basic private practices. That's why you need a fighting chance with Virtual Shield. It is the fastest and easiest VPN in the world. The great news is right now Virtual Shield at hidewithlisa.com is offering not only 50% off for life, but a 30-day free trial just to check it out. All you have to do is go to hidewithlisa.com, click on Get Protected for free, and from there, just fill out your information on the exact VPN plan that you want. It's super easy. Don't be a victim of hackers and DDoS attacks. Check it out today at hidewithlisa.com. Want more information? It's found in the description box below. All right, back to the broadcast. So just what is this massive disclosure by our United States Congress? Well, take a look at this article that I found on thehill.com. Congress implies UFOs have non-human origins. The article goes on to state this: in Congress, where legislation is drafted, debated, and enacted, clear and concise definitions are of paramount importance. As military aircrews increasingly encounter unidentified flying objects, UFOs, lawmakers recently made several striking revisions to their definition of UFO. Key among them, the explosive implication that some UFOs have non-human origins. As first reported by researcher Douglas Johnson, a draft bill approved unanimously by the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence rebrands UFOs as, quote, unidentified aerospace undersea phenomenon, end quote, expanding the definition to include objects in space and under the oceans. It significantly broadens the scope of a muscular new office tasked by Congress with investigating UFOs. The revised definition of UFOs also includes transmedium objects, which, according to lawmakers, transition between space and the atmosphere, or between the atmosphere and bodies of water. Now, what I want to do now is take you straight to the bill itself so you can see it straight directly from the source. But here it is. I'm going to toss it up on the screen. It's S.4503. Now I'm going to scroll down to about page 106 here so you can see how they have redefined the term UFO. But if you scroll down, here's the definition that they give. Number 7, the term transmedium objects or devices means objects or devices that are A, observed to transition between space and the atmosphere, or between the atmosphere and bodies of water, and not immediately identifiable. Now it goes on. The term unidentified aerospace undersea phenomenon means airborne objects that are not immediately identifiable, transmedium objects or devices, and submerged objects or devices that are not immediately identifiable and that display behavior or perform characteristics suggesting that the objects or devices may be related to the objects or devices described in subparagraph A or B And it expands even further, and this is massive right here. It does not include temporary, non-attributed objects or those that are positively identified as man-made. Now, I'm going to hit the pause button right there because there is a lot of meat in that. For starters, lawmakers would not include such language in a bill unless, right, there was some type of evidence for it. By them including that verbiage in the bill, they are admitting that there is something happening in our skies, in our oceans, and in our space that are not man-made. In other words, they are not human. They're not human. In fact, that same bill, in the notes of that bill, and in this same bill right here, Congress is actually tasking an entire department to focus solely on things that are not man-made. And I'm going to scroll down to this section here on page 13. And this is in their directive here on that. This is the Intelligence Authorization Act there. But if you scroll down, here's what it says. Temporary, non-attributed objects, or those that are positively identified as man-made after analysis, those are going to be passed to the appropriate offices and should not be considered under the definition as unidentified aerospace undersea phenomenon. Massive. In other words, we have an entire department that is going to focus just on non-man-made phenomenon, aka not human. And let me just say this. What Congress is doing here is they're forcing a division of the government to focus solely on objects that are not man-made. That's it. That's what this is about. And the other thing that they admit in the notes of that report is that there is a growing threat of these kinds of things. Take a look here. And this is right on page, I believe, 12 there. And here's what it says. At a time when cross-domain trans-medium threats to the U.S. national security are expanding exponentially, the committee is disappointed with the slow pace of DoD-led efforts to establish the office to address those threats. Wow. That's really, really interesting. So here we have Congress admitting there's a threat, admitting that there's UFOs that are not man-made, and putting all of this in a bill. You know, if you really want to know what's going on in space and all that, go to stevequayle.com. He's got great information, videos, reports. He's got books on this thing. I have actually read a majority of his books. And by the way, I don't make any money off of this. You know, I am telling you just to tell you, but he's got some really cool stuff on UFOs and how it ties to the Bible, the Nephilim, the fallen angels, giants, everything. Go to stevequayle.com and check it out. Again, I'm just telling you straight up because he's got good information, not because I get a kickback, because I don't. But the truth of the matter is we have been being given hints about this, about UFOs for quite some time. And I believe the biblical side of that, Nephilim, falling angels, demons, there's a whole slew of series that I've done here on Restricted Republic as well on some of that strange phenomenon. But with that, we have had the likes of Tucker Carlson come out and tell us about UFOs. We've had multiple news reports on it. Here's just some that I pulled out recently. Fox News former CIA director says unexplained phenomena might constitute a different form of life. We have the Hill NASA administrator on UFO report. I don't think we're alone. They also said, Washington Examiner, we hope it's not an adversary here on Earth. NASA leaders suggest UFOs could be aliens. And that's just a little tip of the iceberg there of some of the articles that exist. But either way, I think what we have here is one of the biggest disclosures by our U.S. government to date. I obviously believe UFOs exist. I believe they take the form of demons, fallen angels, and Nephilim. There's a whole series on all of that, and I'm just really broading over that, right? You know, the Bible talks about, or the book of Enoch and the Bible both talk about these fallen angels having sex with humans and producing this Nephilim offspring. But again, go to Steve Quayle and check it out there. But bottom line, I do believe this is the biggest disclosure. And I know I've said that multiple times in this report, but because of the fact that they're admitting they're non-human, they're admitting that they go through space, that they go through air, and that they submerge in the ocean. And even more specifically, they want one office devoted to this non-man-made phenomenon entirely. Anyhow, I'd love to get your thoughts, comments, and concerns. I'm Lisa Haven signing out.